All right.
On with President Trump, we have a big
Okay.
scoop.
We've
Pam
got a
Bondi
big scoop.
will soon leave her job
Maxwell,
as the
thank you for the
Attorney
4
General.
months.
She is going to get a different job within the administration. It doesn't sound like there is.
I love this whole wording of we're restructuring or we have found a special new position in the private sector. And we thank Christy Bondi. we thank Pam Nome. We thank these women for serving this country. Like truly just interchangeable. Yeah.
Any bad blood between her and President Trump, but it does seem like they want her to go and do something else. And in an interim
I'm sure there's no bad blood
role, she will be replaced by
sure.
Todd Blanche, who is currently her deputy at the Justice Department. So it doesn't sound like Blanche is being elevated long term to the Attorney General. There might be somebody else that the president wants to go in there, but President Trump soon will announce to the entire world that it is the end of Pam Bondi's time as the Attorney General.
That Pam Bondi is dead to Trump.
Still thinks that she is a great person and that she did a good job. And he still wants her in the fold because she will still be an important part of the administration, he tells me.
Oh, you mean that they probably have, she probably has dirt on Trump, but because of her complicity, it's kind of a standoff here.
But no longer as the top law enforcement officer of the United States. That, at least for a little while, is going to be Todd Blanche.
Ducey,
Heard it here first.
That's rather big news, and I'm sure you don't have the answer to this, but there have been some rumored names to replace her. Did you happen to catch that?
Also, Pam has been helping Trump for longer than she was the AG, because over a decade ago, she asked him for a personal donation to her reelection campaign when she was Florida's AG. He gave her $25,000, and then she decided not to pursue an investigation into the fraud allegations concerning Trump University. Of course, Pam's involvement when Alex Acosta was Florida's AG and gave Jeffrey Epstein that sweetheart deal, and then Pam refusing to look into that. So they go way back. They do. Pam and Dawn go way back, and I'm sure that this was a mutual parting of ways and no bad blood whatsoever.
So far, Todd Blanche.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'd be remiss if we didn't ask. Okay. Thank you so much, Peter. Laura, we're both from Florida, and Pam Bondi is an amazing attorney general, was an amazing attorney general in Florida, and I know her services are greatly appreciated. The state of Florida.
Okay. How many fucking bumpets does Kaylee have in her hair?
Loves her, as does the entirety of the
I swear, every time I look at Fox News, the hair just gets more and more bumped up. I'm like, that is two full cans of hairspray. All right, do not go near an open flame.
Administration.
Absolutely, and she's done an incredible job. I mean, this is a very tough job to come in and be Attorney General of the United States. I give her a lot of credit for what she's been able to do. There was a lot of pressure
Honestly,
surrounding a whole host
girl
of
boss.
different things coming into, the president's.
Bigger the hair, closer to God. That's right. That's right. I should sell a bumpet that is so high. That is so high you can't even see the top of someone's head in photos. I should sell that as Carolyn.
Term in office, and I think she's been great. You know, she's cracked down on crime. She's done an incredible job, in this role. And yeah, we love her in Florida.
She's cracked down on crime, except when it comes to prosecuting any of the pedophiles involved with Jeffrey Epstein's criminal operation. But yeah, otherwise, sure. Yeah.
The United States owes her a debt of gratitude. I know the president would echo those sentiments.
Yes. Well, as we just heard, Todd Blanche stepping in temporarily. We await to see if he gets the top job or if some of the other rumored names indeed get that. Breaking news here on Outnumbered. Now on to America Reports.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
I mean, look, I'm going to say it again. When you are a woman in MAGA, Now, it's not to say that men aren't disposable as well. If Trump sees that they have outlived their usefulness, if he's wrapped up in something and he needs someone else to take the fall, then it'll happen. But just a reminder to women, you are a second-class citizen. You are 1,000% up for the chopping block whenever. It doesn't matter how many years of loyalty you have to Donald Trump. Okay, remember Elise Stefanik? Elise Stefanik, who was a great MAGA soldier for Donald Trump, an extreme loyalist. And Elise Stefanik had been promised, and this was public, that Trump had vowed to appoint her as his UN ambassador. And then, well, unfortunately, they were too worried about the narrow, razor-thin margin with the House. So it was just too risky to remove Elise and put her in this ambassador position. So we couldn't do it. Okay. But it did not mean that Elise Stefanik was not faithful. But then the governor's race comes along, and Elise Stefanik actually, if I'm recalling correctly, was ahead of the other Trump guy. And she was predicted to do better than him. But then suddenly Elise Stefanik drops out. She drops out of the race. And it's because Trump did not endorse her, and he endorsed his other guy. Ooh, Elise, that's gotta hurt twice. Two massive stabs to the chest. I feel like I haven't heard her name in years. Well, yeah, that's because, again, at one point, Elise was front and center waging war on behalf of Trump, and then she got fucked over twice. He demands loyalty and doesn't return it. Yeah. And then Maria Machado, who was so desperate for Trump's backing her in attempting to take over Venezuela's government, that she went from dedicating the Nobel Peace Prize that she won. She went from dedicating it to Trump on behalf of the people of Venezuela to full on offering it to him. Just here, take it. Do you want it? Take it. And yet Trump publicly was like, yeah, I don't know about Maria Corina Machado. So he essentially was like, yeah, I don't know about her taking over the government in Venezuela. I think it's going to have to be me. I think I'm going to have to run things there. Yeah, she just straight up gave him her Nobel Peace Prize and still didn't get anything in return. 2026 being a bad year. I mean, 2025 and 2026 really just showing that your loyalty is not rewarded. And I think Tulsi Gabbard is probably next. Caroline Leavitt, Tulsi Gabbard.
To the News Hour. President Donald Trump has ousted the second member of his cabinet in less than a month. Attorney General Pam Bondi will be leaving her role after just 14 months on the job. In a post on his social...
I can't get over that Cash Money always looks like he's just pooped his pants. He really looks like when you see a baby and you can tell that it's pooped in its diaper. You're like, you went poop, didn't you? And then you give it a little sniff test. You're like, oh, yeah, that's a shit. That's a shit. That's how Kash Patel always looks, that he's pooped in his pants and he's trying to hide the fact that he's pooped in his pants, and he is worried that people will start to smell it.
He will be leaving her role after just 14 months on the job.
Yeah.
In a post on...
Sharded in the elevator face. When you think it's going to be a fart, but it's actually a shart.
His social media platform, the president said Bondi would be, quote, transitioning to a much needed and important new job in the private sector. He did not specify the reason for her dismissal. Our justice correspondent Ali Rogan has more on Bondi's firing and what comes next for the Department of Justice.
After the announcement, Bondi called her time as AG the honor of a lifetime and said it was easily the most consequential first year of the Department of Justice in American history. During her tenure, Bondi has faced bipartisan criticism for her handling of the department's investigation into late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. And the president himself has expressed frustration over her lack of prosecutions of his perceived political enemies.
Oh, and not to defend Pam Bondi here, but it's not for lack of effort. Pam certainly tried. She took a fucking sledgehammer to the Justice Department. She came in fully as a Trump loyalist, ready to weaponize the DOJ to serve his every need. So she definitely tried. But I'm sure Trump is looking at this. And genuinely going, if she were a man, she would have been able to do it.
But Bondi was also a vocal ally of President
we're bringing
Trump,
Todd in.
who frequently attacked members of Congress on his behalf, including at a combative
We're bringing Todd in because he's a lot more aggressive and he's a man.
Hearing in February.
I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who previously served as President Trump's personal attorney, will lead the department until the president names a new nominee for the role. For more on what this means for the DOJ, I'm joined by Mary McCord. She's a former acting assistant attorney general for national security and longtime federal prosecutor. She's now executive director of the Institute for Constitutional Advocacy and Protection at Georgetown Law. Mary, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks. Look at that intense, Bob.
14 months in, what is Pam Bondi's legacy going to be as attorney general?
Well, I think probably the things that people will remember her for the most probably is the debacle of the Epstein investigation. I mean, way back early in Donald Trump's tenure, she really promised that the client files were on her desk. That had to have just been made up.
Yeah, she was also one of the loudest leading voices on claiming that the election was stolen from Trump. So she's been out there hitting the pavement on his behalf, but sorry.
Because it was only months later that she said, we don't have anything here.
Enough.
I've, investigated this along with the FBI director. There's no criminal cases coming out. There is no client list. And then, of course, we've seen what has happened since then. There are so many other things that she did that I feel like she should be remembered for. And these are mostly not good things at all, completely undermining the independence of the Department of Justice from the White House, saying famously in the Great Hall, the first time she addressed the men and women of the department, that she was...
I'm just going to remind everyone of this story with Pam Bondi, which I've already talked about before on stream, but in case you missed it, just so you know, I mean, you should know that Pam Bondi is evil alone based on how she is covered up for pedophiles. So like that's enough to all the proof you need to show that she's evil. But Pam Bondi, there tends to be this thing with right wing with these MAGA women and how evil they are regarding dogs. So Pam, during Hurricane Katrina, found a dog that had been turned into a shelter because of the storm, and she adopted that dog. And this was after her Saint Bernard had died. So she finds this dog in a shelter, adopts the dog. Well, it turns out that the dog belonged to a 4-year-old child who had already been recovering from the murder-suicide loss of both of his parents. And then Hurricane Katrina happens. He was living with his grandparents because of his parents being dead, and the dog gets lost in the storm. So that is how this 4-year-old's dog ends up in the shelter. And so when they find out that the dog ended up being adopted by Pam Bondi, they go and ask Pam for their dog back. And Pam, it's like in this child's face, said no. This little 4-year-old was begging Pam Bondi to like have his dog back. And she looked at him and was like, oh yeah, no. See, the thing is, this is my dog now. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, truly cartoon villainy. The levels of evil. Yeah, an orphan, for God's sake, who's already been through so much trauma in the short 4 years he's been alive. And then Pam was like, oh, you want your dog back? Yeah, you're not getting your dog back. And then she sued the kid. I know. And then she filed a suit. She did. She filed a suit, and she tried to say that the previous owners were abusive to the dog, and she actually saved the dog. Yeah, no, Pam Bondi is vile. She has been vile for years.
So pleased to be
decades.
Working under the direction of the President of the United States. And that's really complete anathema to the prosecutors who in order to show the American people.
Now, the good news is that the child did eventually get his dog back. So that does have a happy ending there. But yeah, Pam certainly tried.
That justice is not being used for political purposes, want to keep that distance.
Why do you think this is happening, and why now?
Yeah, you know, I have actually thought for some time that this was, you know, going to happen, and it's you know, getting in Donald Trump's mind about when he decides to do something is difficult to do. Certainly. It's usually tied to a news cycle or to try to distract from news, I think. And so, you know, today it's not clear. He had a bad day in the Supreme Court yesterday with the birthright citizenship argument, which had really nothing to do with Pam Bondi, but still. Perhaps he wants a distraction. Now, whether this is the kind of distraction he wants, I don't know. The Epstein matter, you know, what this really will do is bring that back into the fore of discussion, even while people were starting to discuss other things, because
I wonder where that kid is now. Because let's see, 2005, 21 years ago. So that kid would be 25 years old today. I wonder if he's sitting there seeing the news here and going, "RIPBOZO, fuck you, Pam Bondi. I have hated your ass for 2 decades."
Again, I think that's really
Shouts
one
out
of the
to
things
him.
she's most known for.
We also know that President Trump was frustrated with her failure to successfully prosecute some of his political adversaries, James Comey, Tish James, to name a few. Some of the top names being circulated to replace her include current EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., Jeanine Pirro. Would any of these names have any more success in those prosecutions?
Jeanine is the energy that I think Pam Bondi tried to have when she was in that hearing over the Epstein files and screaming about the Dow and being like, I can't believe that you all are saying these things about the president. I mean, why aren't we talking about the Dow being up? I mean, my God, you shut up. No, you shut up. See, I think she needed the like theatrical craziness of Jeanine.
Of political adversaries than Bondi did.
You know, her lack of success there is because the evidence didn't support the charges. And that's what we've seen when, you know, grand juries, like we've heard already under Jeanine Pirro's watch in Washington, D.C., a grand jury rejected efforts to indict the members of Congress who had, you know, put out the truth in a statement saying that members of the military, you know, owe an oath to the Constitution and not to obey unlawful orders. That was just a true statement. And the, you know, grand jury refused to indict. We've seen vindictive and selective prosecution motions filed in the cases of James and Jim Comey. Now, the court didn't have to actually reach the final merits of those because they kicked those cases out on the grounds that Lindsay Halligan was unlawfully, you know, in that office. But they were powerful motions that even though Lindsay Halligan had managed to get indictments there, those motions and some other statements by the judges in those cases suggested she might have done so by by saying things to the grand jurors that she wasn't supposed to say. So the long and the short of the answer to your question is, a different person doesn't change whether there is a lack of evidence. And some of the suggested prosecutions are just really straining to find something to prosecute.
Todd Blanche, who's currently the Deputy Attorney General, will serve in the acting capacity as the leader until someone is named. He was President Trump's former lawyer.
I just can't believe we went from arguing over the lack of apoliticalness with the DOJ because of Pam Bondi's various actions to just Donald Trump straight up having his personal lawyer. Straight up appointing his personal lawyer to take over, whether it's temporary or not. Like, that's crazy. I know people understand that, but I need people to really understand how crazy that is. His lawyer who represented him as recently as 2024. Yes. Not somebody who, okay, fine, 15 years ago. Pam was his defense lawyer too. Oh yeah, I forgot that she was one of his defense lawyers during his impeachment trial. That's the world that we are in. Let's listen to some of the I've Had It ladies' thoughts on this. My girls. I'm assembling a team of attorneys who can all be my attorney general when I'm president.
Trump fired Kristi Noem. It turns out her husband, Big Titty Brian, is in very compromising positions. Now he has fired.
Wait, did y'all see this on the Kristi Noem sitch? Did you see that the whistleblower may have been an undocumented sex worker? Okay, so a White House reporter has claimed an unexpected source may have been behind exposing the alleged alter ego of former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's husband. Axios reporter Mark Caputo revealed that he had been given a tip last month about Byron Noem's busty bimbo alter ego before the Daily Mail reported on his cross-dressing habits on Tuesday. Yeah, I got a weird lead. A source texted me February 13th, the veteran reporter posted. They said an immigrant sex worker, possibly in the country illegally, wanted to go public about Noem's husband using her services online. It was vengeance for DHS's immigration enforcement. Everything about this administration is so unserious. Everything about this administration reveals the absolute moral hypocrisy that is constantly at play, right? Like the moral rot, the hypocrisy, and it is unserious because the absurdity of like everything ongoing is certainly absurd, and just how frequently we have a fork found in kitchen situation. Whether it is MAGA officials or prominent MAGA supporters who are outed as pedophiles, whether it is this kitchen has a lot of forks. Yeah, the kitchen's got too many forks. And obviously, if this were not Kristi Noem's husband, then the take here is, who cares? Let him live his life. Let him have his private dealings, as long as it's not, committing crimes, as long as this is not exploitative, whatever. But we're talking about Kristi Noem's husband. We're talking about people who are who are fascists, who have been working on behalf of a fascist administration, pushing the most heinous, hateful rhetoric and policies So actually, yeah, it is important to go, well. Would you look at that? It's also proof that the hatred you foment comes back to you. Yes. Hey, guess what, Kristi Noem's husband? Because of what you believe in or what you publicly advocate for and have aligned yourself with, that restricts your freedom as a man here. This is what we're always talking about with this, with these conservative values being so oppressive, of course, being rooted in really rigid gender norms. That means when something like this happens, you're toast. I mean, the irony of it, Kristi Noem was pro-ICE, but an immigrant was the whistleblower. Yeah, and I don't know if this is like totally confirmed, but it would be, it would make sense. It would make sense, and it would not be the first time that there's been a situation like this where the person who revealed the truth is a person that the right wing paints so frequently as the enemy, has targeted. He added in a follow-up post that he was sharing because folks sometimes wonder how reporting works. Here, I would have needed to talk to the accuser and verify the info the way the Mail did. When we use anonymous sources, they're credible. The Daily Beast reached out to the Daily Mail for comment. Daily Mail reported that Brian Noem, 56, uses an online ego where he puts on fake boobs and skin-tight leggings to chat with adult performers. Yeah, man, wouldn't you love to live in a world where you were not judged for that, where that was not criminalized, where that was not that was not a part of the that was not a part of like the constant ongoing hateful rhetoric deployed by the right wing to strip LGBTQ people of their rights. Is his name Byron or Brian? Did I say it's Brian Noem? The outlet said it obtained hundreds of messages involving 3 separate women tied to his bimboification, which is a fetish involving role-playing as a hypersexualized Barbie doll in which a man wears massive breasts and tight clothing. It's called bimboification, people who modify their body to look like a doll, the Barbie look. His kink is for huge, ridiculous boobs. Yeah. Just big honkers. Just the biggest, the tiggest old biddies. Kristi Noem was ousted from her role at DHS earlier this month after Trump fired her via Truth Social post. Her time leading DHS was, wait, do you think Kristi Noem is looking at the Pam Bondi firing and going, I got fired from a fucking post. I found out I was fired from a post. Are you kidding me? Her time leading DHS was riddled with controversy. Yes, indeed. And she spent hundreds of millions on a glamorous self-promoting ad campaign. She and Brian, see, now they've spelled it, I don't give a shit, met in high school in their native South Dakota. They were married in 1992 when she was just a 20-year-old college student. They have 3 children, Cassidy, Kennedy, and Booker, all of whom are in their 20s. Noem, who's also alleged to be engaged in an extramarital affair with her former aide, Corey Lewandowski, in what has been called DC's worst-kept secret, said she is devastated by the report on her husband. Yeah, she knew. Okay, I'm sorry. I do not believe that this is news to Kristi Noem. Her spokesperson told the Mail the family was blindsided by this. They asked for privacy and prayers at this time. So no wonder they hate drag queens. They're super jealous. Her husband would love. Jimbo was in BB No Money's music video.
Yes! Celebrating Pride, driving around in the sunshine in beautiful Victoria. I'm here with Bobby and Brady.
Jimbo. Prayers for big old titty McBitty. Yeah. Hello, Brian. Thank you for 21 months. Alexandria, thank you for the raid.
Is Jimbo. Now this is a show.
We love boobs. We love boobs. We just shouldn't oppress people who have boobs or want to have boobs. You know what I mean? Everyone should have boobs if they want them. If you want boobs, you should be freely allowed to have a pair of titties. You know? We're all about boobs. We're just not about these fucking losers. These losers who do one thing publicly and then another thing privately. You can't just hide prosthetic honkers that big and her not find them. Yeah, I know. He probably just has them on a shelf in the closet. It's the big booby shelf. You know, he's probably got a couple pairs in case one of them is a little sweaty. You never know when you need a backup pair of enormous honkers. Yeah, if these fascist dehumanizing losers do not push to remove people like this from society, they could do this happy in the open. Yeah, so like I don't feel bad for any of these people involved. And it's very rich for Kristi Noem to be asking for privacy at this time. Please give my family privacy. No, you don't actually deserve that. You haven't earned. You have not. In fact, you have given up your right to deserve that privacy. Yet, no thanks. No thanks. I don't think so. Nope.
Pam Bondi, pop up this headline. Daily Mail keeps giving us banger after banger after banger.
Please stop looking at photos of my husband's fake big tits. Please, everybody. Please. My name is Kristi Noem, and I am asking you to please stop talking about my husband's big fake boobs. Please, at this time, we're asking for prayers and privacy. No more of these nicknames that I have seen. No more of the memes that I have seen which make the boobs even bigger. They're big enough. Those boobs are certainly big enough without somebody on the internet editing them to make them 4 times the size.
Saw it coming. Pam Bondi begged
privacy for the
not
Jacobs,
to fire
please.
her during dramatic White House showdown as insider reveals his final straw. And put up the second slide. This is the final straw from the article. Philip Nieto posts, and this is from the Daily Mail article. Trump told Pam Bondi shortly before his Iran
but those
speech
boobs weren't even made in America.
That
they probably came from a Chinese manufacturing company. You got Chinese titties on.
She would soon be fired. Trump's
Chinese
reason for the sudden dismissal comes in part because the president believes Bondi tipped off Congressman Eric.
Please don't show him the boobs can be bigger. I already barely fit on our bed. Please. We've had to go from a queen size bed to a California king because there's not enough room for all of us in this bed. Please don't give him any ideas that these boobs can be even larger.
All well about the FBI's efforts to release investigative documents related to his relationship with Christine Fang. So a couple of things I just want to point out here. Trump wanted Pam Bondi to indict Swalwell. I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago. Do you remember that, Pumps?
Yes.
And now Crazy Eye FBI podcaster Kash Patel, he wants to resurrect this whole discredited thing that about Eric Swalwell, because when Trump has an enemy, somebody that he doesn't like, he's just laser focused on taking them down. Pumps.
Okay, here's the thing. What cracks me up is I was watching Fox News coverage and they were like alluding to the handling of the Epstein file. So I just want to make this very clear off the top so nobody's surprised. The Epstein
As a trans woman who was an escort for many years, you would be shocked at how many of the most average seeming conservative cis het married men have an intense sissy fetish. It's always the most misogynistic of them too, because of course they believe that the most submissive and humiliating thing is to be feminine. Excellent point. You know what? I'm actually not shocked because of how often this happens, and also because, of course, like there is just even without the constant public stories where something like this comes to light and it's like, wow, who's shocked? Certainly not me. It just, yeah, it makes sense. It's one of those like, but of course, not shocked, unfortunately. Yeah, like the chaser trope. I mean, I posted this. There was some MAGA Christian guy who had the reason that I didn't show his profile picture is because he had his kids in his profile, and I was like, whatever. So I blacked it out. But he commented, he follows me on Instagram, clearly a fan. Okay, clearly a fan, and commented on one of my posts calling me a lady boy. But I looked at that and I went, well, it looks like we have a classic case of a MAGA conservative Charlie Kirk standing adult man with a whole ass family who potentially is following me because he thinks I'm a lady boy. Well, would you look at that? Well.
Are not going to be released under.
Maybe I do have a penis. Would it be so terrible? One of the best parts of that clip is that Gaga doesn't stop putting ice in her mouth. She's putting ice in her mouth as she's answering Anderson Cooper when he's like, so in his very serious, newscaster voice, people are saying that you might be a hermaphrodite. And Gaga's like, yeah, so what if I do have a penis? Would that be so terrible? Why does it matter? Why do you care so much? Why are you specifically asking a question on this? Don't you think that's strange? Don't you think it's bizarre that you are asking me if I have a penis? Because I think that that's weird. I think that only one of us is in the weird situation here, and it's you for asking me this question. And it's anybody in the public who cares, who gives a shit about this. Like, why are you spending time thinking about that? Huh?
Donald Trump, because the Epstein files incriminate Donald Trump, in my opinion. Why would we be fighting so hard? He can appoint 1,000 FBI
thank you for the 9 months.
attorney generals. These will not be released because the person they're protecting is Trump.
Yeah.
So any indication that he wants the Epstein files released and she won't do it is, I'm laughing my fat ass off, because that couldn't be further from the truth. And here's the deal. Pam Bondi is the worst. She sold her soul to the devil and she lost. And I, for one, am delighted. I am so happy for her that she gets to bury her head in shame in Florida, where she has given up her soul and now she's been humiliated by Trump.
I love it when bad things happen to bad people.
I agree.
And if that makes me a bad person,
I'll take it.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
No, because the bad things aren't even bad enough. That's the thing. We're so desperate for crumbs. We're so desperate for crumbs that it's not even truly bad things happening to bad people.
I did read, and I just have to share this with you all, when we were prepping for this live, somebody who wrote, I wonder if Pam Bondi's husband's tits are bigger than Big Titty Brian. So, I mean,
she's going to get a cushy job. Yeah, she's going to be in the private sector, making a shit ton of money, still escaping accountability for the time being for her complicity in covering up for the billionaire pedophile cabal.
People are so horrible. They're such losers.
She'll
Trump
be,
himself
yeah,
said,
she'll be
I
on
like
Fox
to surround myself with
News.
losers.
She'll be there
so he
with
feels like the big swinging
Kaylee
dick,
and
right? Pam
Laura.
Bondi is a sociopath, psychopath of the highest order. The way she treated victims of child rape and the disdain and the indignant.
The only way that bad things happen to bad people is if we get some type of Final Destination situation here, okay? I'm talking like the elevator scene with Pam Bondi. She's like, I don't know, going in for some meeting for how many millions of dollars she'll make in the private sector. You know, that's what that is. Bad thing. Well, I guess it depends on how you define bad, but a thing happening to a bad person. Yeah, maybe another pickleball accident. Maybe that actually would be really funny. And I think I would become fully conspiratorial if more MAGA people started getting taken out in pickleball accidents. That is, if we get at least one more, one more on top of Charlie Kirk's mentor and the guy who turned cheerleading into a massive multi-billion-dollar business. That guy who died in a pickleball accident. If it happens again, I'm in. I'm in on the conspiracy theory.
Sociopathic manner that she treated them is the way she will be remembered forever. The autopsy on Pam Bondi is...
You know who actually would be very likely to die in a pickleball accident if you ever played? Kash Patel. I can see something happening with those stupid Nike shoes of his that he got personally made that say Cash Money on them. Something, it's got Final Destination written all over it. Truly, you know, maybe the shoelaces are tied together. How did that happen? We don't know. But it would be the freakiest of freak accidents.
She did not care about child rape. She wears a Christian cross. Yeah. She Christian signals. She covers up for a pedophile.
No love like Christian
rings,
hate.
And that will be her obituary in the history books. She will always be remembered as the woman who didn't stand up for little girls that were raped by sick, rich men. And so I appreciate that Fox News is bringing up the Epstein files again, because even no matter how they're bringing them up, I think this has to do more with Pam Bondi's inability to get federal judges to break the law and charge James Comey, Letitia James. I think that's what a lot of this is. But listen to this, Pumps. It is just everybody's on the chopping block. And now, pop this up, Kylie. Trump is considering firing Tulsi Gabbard, and Adam Cochran reports in the past 24 hours, we've learned Trump is talking about firing 3 different people in the DOJ and now the DNI. So either, number one, they are refusing to
there's no hate like Christian love is
do
what I meant.
something very illegal, which for them is a far out line, or there is a major intelligence scandal happening and Trump is going to throw people under the bus. And
the one thing I do feel good about right now is that people are sweating. People are sweating. There is hell attention. You know the environment is chaotic. You know, after Joe Kent left and was like, this Iran stuff is crazy, that sent them also into a realm of chaos. People are here's the thing. These people who have aligned themselves with Trump, who've kissed the ring, who have been put into these positions of power, they know that Trump is Trump. How chaotic he is, how much he operates from a place of retribution to his enemies, how greedy and narcissistic and selfish he is. They're aware. They've just hoped that as long as they've remained loyal to him, then they will continuously benefit. Yeah, they know how petty he is. Absolutely, the people around Trump know how Trump is. So they are fucking freaking out right now. God, would I love to be a fly on so many different walls.
It's really interesting. Why all of a sudden?
Did you see Hegseth announce that military will be allowed to bring their own guns on base? It always feels like every time I see news related to Pete Hegseth, it's like the craziest shit that somebody can propose. Just insane.
Is he firing all of these people? He started
Neo
a war
Zerk, thank you for the
to
17 months.
distract
Pike
from
Salo,
the
thank you for the prime.
aforementioned child rape that Pam Bondi herself saw to it that she personally would cover up, and she personally would treat child rape victims as though they are subhuman. Pam Bondi did that. Pam Bondi owns that with her Christian cross. So we have all of these things going on. We have thrown Kristi Noem under the bus. We know that her husband probably put national security at risk, parading around with his big tits, big titty Brian. And now Pam Bondi's on the chopping block. So what do you think's happening here? I mean, I called it several months ago. I said, all this kumbaya, circle jerk cabinet meetings, these people hate each other. This is the toxic work environment imaginable.
Yes.
I am somewhat surprised
they hate each other. There's no loyalty amongst them. They will sell one another out. They will push the other off the plank if it means they think they'll be spared. They will say they will say anything they need to say to Trump in order to preserve their own interests. It's all about self-preservation. It is all about loyalty to Trump, but no one else. I spaced out and thought you were talking about fear.
This long.
Yes.
But considering he hired such bottom-feeding losers, those are his words, losers. That's what he calls his cabinet.
Yeah, wait, also, didn't Trump recently say that he surrounds himself with people who are not, who are losers because it makes him feel better about himself? Yeah, that they're less intelligent, that they're losers, that they're really just quite pathetic because it makes him feel better about himself. Honestly, the thing is that Trump is often, for as much of a liar as he is, he's also often starkly honest. In moments like that, when he said that he's not going to heaven, there are those moments where you go, yeah, that is 1000% honest and true.
Hanging out with losers. It doesn't surprise me that they stuck around so long, but now this is the Trump we know. It's going to be chop block city, baby. Pumps, what do you think about Adam Cochran's analysis? What do you think?
I mean, honestly, one of the prime examples of this is Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, who when he ran in the primary against Trump, of course, was all Trump is dangerous and a madman. And Trump made fun of his wife, right? Trump was mocking Ted Cruz, mocking his wife. And then when Trump was shaping up to be the Republican candidate, Ted Cruz got fucking line as he has in the decade since. God, he said, they're all pathetic. They are all little pathetic worms who just have no loyalty except to their own greed. Anonymous user, thank you so much for the 5 gifteds.
On here.
I would just be hard pressed to believe that there's anything illegal these people won't do. I mean, truly. Now, I do know that Trump's $10 billion lawsuit against.
Have you seen Cruz's kids pull away from him when he tries to hug and kiss them? I'm sure that man has like halitosis or something. Not, look, there's not evil people of halitosis, but yeah, his kids think he's horrible. How could you think Cruz is at all a parent whose kids would not despise him? He definitely does not floss. Yeah, he definitely does not floss.
IRS is causing consternation in the DOJ for obvious reasons. I don't know which side she fell on that. She went to the Supreme Court with him. He was humiliated.
Wait, hold up. Pam Bondi went with him yesterday?
Yes.
Oh, that's even more delicious.
Oh,
so she rode in the Beast and she went over and sat on the bench with the red cushion and then he fucking shit canned her?
Yeah.
Oh, that's half my veins, baby. That shit's delicious.
She accompanied him to the Supreme Court when they were hearing the arguments for the birthright citizenship executive order. It's just, you're right, humiliation ritual. The perfect way to describe what these Trump loyalists will put themselves through. It is just unbelievably sad levels of humiliation.
Yeah. And did you know I read an article just yesterday about how much money each individual cabinet member had given his PAC, which is going directly into his pocket? 10 million.
Anonymous,
from
thank you for the
Pammy Baby.
gifted Celestial
She's given
King, thank you for the 21 months.
Went to the Supreme Court. You know what? I bet just that Supreme
Thank
Court,
you.
when the justices were just ridiculing his solicitor general in there, I bet he probably fucking hates all of these people that he has to work around. And I bet he just couldn't fucking stand it. So he's like,
Emma Vigeland compared it to a last ditch effort date before a couple breaks up. I mean, a lot of times when you read these posts, especially Trump's True Social posts, it is giving breakup, messy breakup, where we're like, yeah, we all saw this coming. Pam Bondi is a great American patriot and a loyal friend who faithfully served as my attorney general for the past year. Pam did a tremendous job overseeing a massive crackdown in crime across our country, with murders plummeting to their lowest level since 1900. We love Pam, and she will be transitioning to a much needed and important new job in the private sector. Just keep looking at the bunnies. Just look at the rabbits. Pam, look at the fucking rabbits. To be announced at a date in the near future, and our Deputy Attorney General and a very talented and respected legal mind, Todd Blanche, will step in to serve as Acting Attorney General. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This is truly somebody announcing a breakup and then saying, this is my new this is my new boyfriend, girlfriend. YouTube couple breakups.
Pam, you're out. But this is an interesting twist on this. Kylie, pop up the next analysis here. Amy Siskind of Democracy Now!
I
Says,
don't know if you're planning on watching it, but his address to the nation was basically him repeating his truth posts. Yeah, and his truth posts say literally one thing and then the exact opposite. All right, so is Iran totally destroyed, or this is going to keep going? Which, yes, the takeaway from this is that this war is not ending tomorrow. I can't see it really ending anytime soon. But anyway, he's consistent in how inconsistent he is. Yeah, where he'll just he will truly say both viewpoints, even when they are completely opposite.
trust me, I am no fan of Noam,
Consistently
Gabbard,
inconsistent.
or Bondi, but I do find it notable that of the cabinet
Bimbo
members Trump
Slice,
has
thank you for
fired
the
or is
13 months,
reportedly
and thank
considering
you.
firing, all three are women.
Bit
How
Posh,
about
thank you for 7
Hegseth?
months.
Kennedy Jr. can't even find a CDC worker to match his own craziness. Patel is a laughingstock, and so on. Why aren't they being fired? And I appreciate her earnestness in asking that question, but we know the reason why they're not being fired. And it's because Trump shines in homosocial relationships. This whole sect of MAGA, it is bro on bro on bro on bro. There's a whole homosocial aspect to this. And women are on the chopping block, as we know from Project 2025. So these women, Gabbard, Bondi, Noam, to think that somehow they are the special women when Russ Vought.
Let me just explain this for people, okay? So what this is ultimately misogyny, right? Misogynistic men who do not view women as equal as human beings, and they reserve all their admiration and respect for men, for other men, whether it's Donald Trump or an Andrew Tate. you see that where they will be inspired. They will have this great love for other men. But women are just objects. Women are just there to fulfill a very specific purpose and need. And once they have outlived their usefulness, then off they go. I mean, Trump said it himself. He likes surrounding himself with losers because it makes him feel better. Yeah. So these women are all horrible and they deserve nothing but fire and brimstone. But that doesn't mean that Donald Trump is not also deeply misogynistic. We see that on full display all the time. The way that he talks to women about women, it's grotesque. It's gross. And that's why it's like, look, women who align themselves with fascism, it will not protect you. It will not save you. It will not actually give you equal power that you think it will. But a lot of them too are happy. A lot of them too are happy to be lower as long as it means they're still higher than a lot of other people. They still have a higher place in the social and political hierarchy.
Who Susie Wiles calls, a crazy right-wing Christian, doesn't want them around. I mean, it's a no-brainer. He's going to replace all of them with men. Yeah. So that this can just be homosocial situation. And it's just interesting that these men are so intimidated.
Do you see the latest reporter snap he had? Boy, you are fresh and we've had problems with you. Yeah, he is the fucking worst.
By women. They only want to be in environments where they're solely around men, and the women at the table, listen, they're all losers. These women are losers too. The women were the first on the chopping block.
Yeah, they consider their whiteness. They consider their proximity to power, and they view that as honestly as honestly like something that will provide them protection, that will keep them in the in group despite their being women.
And you know what? Here's the thing. If you're a woman and you're going to go work for a man,
salty dog, thank you for the 20 months.
Dismantle women's rights.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
it's like
help
brown
you that you're
people.
stupid.
It's like brown people working for ICE. Yeah. Black and brown people signing up to be cops, signing up for ICE.
You didn't figure out that was going to happen to you.
Right. I mean, Trump uses people. He particularly uses women. I can't wait for what her new appointment's going to be, because she's staying inside the administration. So is she going to be like,
hang on, I think Kylie's got some breaking news here. Kylie.
We've got a Truth Social update from
We've
Trump.
got a Truth Social.
Okay. Pam Bondi is a great American patriot.
I just read this.
All right, listen up, dipshit. We know it's you. You do not have to sign your fucking tweet. It says real Donald Trump. We fucking know
It's because I think he forgets. He does it to make sure he knows who he is.
Your fucking tweets.
he's a nut. So she's not going to, on Fox News, again, I watched
What
it.
are you doing watching Fox News? So we don't have to. Not all heroes wear capes, pumps.
That's right. And so they were going to say she was transitioning. So I was wondering if it was going to be like special deputy director of the Special Avengers movement. But the first thing I did when I saw this was,
we saw Republican women sort of wake up to this last year. What happened with that? I mean, somewhat, but more on an individual level. You know, we read that piece with MAGA influencers and like podcasters who, since the explosion of the new right with figures like Nick Fuentes leading the charge on that they started to realize how much these men hate women, and that as long as these women play their role and do not extend past that, do not challenge then they'll be allowed to remain. But as soon as they even question anything, they're gone. So unfortunately, the individual instances of women on the right who've gone, damn, yeah, these men really hate women, which includes me. That is not yet like any type of mass scale conservative woman rebellion. It's why still the majority of white women, as they have for decades in this country, support Republicans. Like, this is not something that's changing overnight, even when you have one of the most vile, misogynist, pedophile rapists in office, you know? Toxic Bear, thank you for the 2 months.
Looked to, does she still have to testify before the Oversight Committee on April 14th regarding the Epstein files? And the answer is yes, she still does. Now, she may have more ability to stonewall now that she's no longer in that position, but she still is under subpoena. And do I think she's going to do it? No. Do I think she's going to say anything? No. But bitch is on her own. And here's the thing.
Hannah, thank you for the 17 months. Ashley, thank you for 41 months.
We love Pam. We love her. I would say, here's the fucking deal. April 14th, if by midnight, April 13th rolls around and I don't have a signed, sealed, delivered pardon from your ass, I'm fucking going scorched earth. I'm going to tell everything I know and peace out. That's what I would do. I would say, I want my pardon in my hand because this woman has committed so many fucking crimes. And I hope that she ages in jail terribly. But I want it in
DJ
jail.
Gentleman, thank you for 2 months.
Let's take
Oreo,
a
thank you for
little
12 months.
trip down memory lane of some of more Pam Bondi's more egregious moments. More recently, in an oversight hearing in February, Kylie, play the video.
The Dow right now is over.
The
Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000.
Okay.
And the
I mean, this is straight jacket padded sell shit.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just fucking insane. There are victims of child rape sitting behind her, and she is screaming like a raving lunatic about the Dow. It's just, it perfectly encapsulates the collision of capitalism plus evangelical Christianity plus white supremacy that reigns in MAGA. They value money over they do human beings. And to all of the white women that go and triple Trump and vote, and you have little daughters that you love more than anything on the planet. You put little bows in their hair and you let them try out for cheerleader, and you go to drop them off at school, and then you go to yoga, and you're the first motherfucker in carpool line. I want to tell you, this group of people, even these women, if something happens to your daughter and she's raped, number one, they're going to take the rapist side. And number two, your daughter's going to have that rapist baby. So you remember that every time you go vote for these Republicans, because that will happen to your daughter. Trump doesn't care about women. The women that support Trump.
Unfortunately, the issue of restricting and abolishing the right to abortion has not been enough for enough women to be fed up. It's not enough. And there is so much copium that these women engage in. There's so much outright denialism. There's so much just twisting of reality to live more comfortably with your decisions, with your political viewpoints. And white women, again, it's not that all of them deny misogyny and sexism, a lot of them believe that their whiteness will, because it does, it does advantage them over, say, Black women, but they believe in the value of that whiteness and the kind of womanhood, the woman element of it being secondary, and they also get it so twisted that they will identify misogyny and sexism, but not within their own spheres. And I think for a lot of women, because I think a lot of women do that, because when they start to fully examine how prevalent misogyny and sexism is, then they start looking at their brothers and their fathers and their husbands and the men in their lives who contribute to oppressing them. The patriarchal structure that they exist under, that in order to do so without really cracking open and losing your mind at how much hateful bigotry exists, they pretend that that's not the case. So many can afford to get the procedures somewhere else anyways. Oh, abortion? Yeah, I mean, that's obviously, look, when it comes to abortions will always be taking place. It's just a matter of, are they safe and are they easily accessible and are not going to lead to exploitation and the harm of those who are seeking abortion. Rich people will always be able to get abortions. They will always be able to get them, even if you implement a total ban. And they will always be utilizing abortion.
Don't care about women, and they sure as fuck don't care about kids. And I've had it with them masquerading that, oh, we care so much about family and kids. Shut the fuck up. I mean, I'm serious. Look at she's a raving lunatic sitting there bitching. I mean, bragging about the Dow, which she has fucking nothing to do with it. Nothing. She did. Pam Bondi, whether you were the attorney general or not, the Dow was still going to be what the Dow was that day. Right. The narcissism involved in that statement is also something that bothers me, but we have so many things to get to. Moving along. This is how she refuses. She refuses to look at or acknowledge these victims of child rape, these Epstein survivors. Pop this up, Kylie.
To the survivors in the room.
It's Chits McGee. Thank you for tier 1.
And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand.
Yeah, I mean, this is Pam Bondi's legacy.
General Bondi,
she knows. Trust. Pam Bondi knows. She is not in the dark. She is not truly ignorant. Now, do I think Pam Bondi, do I think that's the same thing as Pam Bondi being a smart person? No. But yeah, there's a reason that she's not looking at them. And there's a reason that she kept crashing out in this hearing and trying to distract and deflect. She cannot look at them because she knows that she is protecting the pedophiles who abuse them.
Apologize to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman, you sat before Merrick
No,
Garland
LOL.
sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General
Twice.
Bondi,
No, can
I'm
I
gonna
finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. This woman is that she is just a fucking cunt. I mean,
Oh,
it's just
she's a
there's no
cunt.
other word for that.
No.
That this child sex ring
But
raped
the
and took away
Dow,
from so
ladies,
many young girls that were preyed upon because they were poor girls.
Yeah.
And you ascend in your career
Yeah.
and in your life to be in a position to right wrongs. That's why people get into justice, or my husband's an attorney because he likes to right wrongs and he believes in helping the marginalized. And she gets in that position to protect rapists. I mean, that's just it's really like that's going to be her obituary. That's what she will forever be
yeah, Pam Bondi protected pedophiles.
remembered by, the same way that Elon Musk will forever be remembered as the richest man in the world that killed the poorest people in the world. And history is going to live, and the books will write about this for, forever. And this will, there's nothing she's ever going to be able to do to fix this. And this is a level of religious and MAGA psychosis that I don't know. I agree with you, but she should ask for a pardon, if you're crazy. These people are so unhinged and so insane. Who knows what she's going to do? And I don't think these people even think they're doing anything wrong, quite frankly.
I can't super dispute that, because the way they act, it makes you think they have no ability to distinguish truth.
You know what I would say? I think some of them, I think they know. It's just a matter of caring. They clearly don't care. They don't care because they value their own greedy interests. They do not give a shit about children being genocided, about children being the victims of a pedophile cabal. They don't care. But I do think that's not to be confused with them not knowing that they're lying and that this is I think the definition of wrong gets maybe a little murky here, because it's knowing it's wrong, which is why they cover it up, which is why they do anything to self-preserve and ensure protection for Donald Trump. So they know it's wrong because otherwise they wouldn't do it. But it's that it's not recognizing it's wrong and therefore having any remorse over their participation. They don't have remorse. They do not regret. I think the only regret comes from having failed to secure protection from not being fired by Trump. Yeah, it's getting caught, or just not being able to show their loyalty perfectly enough to please Trump. I think a lot of conservatives will say that they're lying to counter the lies they think their opponents are spreading. Say that they're lying? Do you mean who will conservatives say are lying? Discarding any empathy for money? Yeah.
Versus fiction. But I just can't.
Do I think she'll turn on Trump? No. No, because Pam is also culpable. Pam has been culpable for years, not just when she became AG. So no. And she wants to protect her. She wants to protect herself still, and she will have a cushy job in the private sector. And as long as Trump's in power, as long as she is still aligned with power, she has made the calculation that will still be to her benefit. Conservatives, when they're being honest, would say they have to lie because they believe their enemies are lying. Oh, I see.
Help but think that she is sitting there and she knows they're standing up behind her and she can't look at them. That I'm hopeful that she did that hurt her. I don't know if it
I
will
think it
or
was
not.
it was an intention.
Here's what AOC said. That's nice. Still doesn't get her out of testifying to Congress about Epstein. We must also investigate the continued breaking of the law around the DOJ still hiding Epstein files from the public. This isn't over. I mean, good. That's the energy that is needed. I think some Democrats are a little too busy still pissing and moaning about a Twitch streamer, but I know that there are ones who are dedicated to prosecuting Epstein's associates and DOJ, forcing the DOJ to actually release everything and forcing Pam Bondi to testify.
This is intentional humiliation rituals and intentional cruelty by authoritarian regimes. And scholars have told us this. He's looking for loyalty, the strong man Trump, and she humiliated these victims that are embarrassing Trump, and she had to show her loyalty to him at all costs in that hearing. That's why she's ranting like a lunatic and raving about the Dow. And that was a humiliation ritual to humiliate these girls that Trump perceives as not being loyal to him. And this is a play that these people do. It is the display of the moral collapse of society. And so you see that on display. And then let's move along here. 6 days later, she crashes a White House event and gives right-wing influencers the Epstein files. I'm sorry. No. Let me back up here, you guys. I jumped ahead of myself. Yeah. Okay. So let's go now to, sorry, Ryan, what is it?
It's her on Fox News.
All right. I think I'm going to move on to the next story, but yeah, some of the Epstein survivors or families representing them have put out statements and said that Pam needs to be held responsible and that they are going to keep fighting for transparency and for justice. Virginia Giuffre's family put out a statement and said, "Alliance to a corrupt agenda never serves you. Another one falls on the sword to protect the powerful. We hope she has the courage to testify and actually do right by survivors this time."